over the planetary aspects that are surrounding us and affecting us for this week, April 17th through the 23rd. And this week we have a lot of energy that's carrying forward from last week, but we also have two planets that are changing signs, creating a lot of energy out there in the skies, as well as our planet of transformation, Pluto, going into its retrograde cycle for the year. That begins this week, and we also have some other planetary aspects that are kind of shifting and changing the dynamic for us, making it a very busy week ahead with a lot of energy. So let's get right to it, starting with what's kind of carrying forward from this previous week. Okay, here we are on Easter Sunday. Though the sun is not shining like it was yesterday, it's reminiscent of the fact that the sun, of course, is always shining on us. Jesus, of course, and the sacrifice that he made to prove to us all that no matter how human we are, that our sins can be forgiven, and that our sins are almost expected and anticipated because we are humans, and that we always have that capacity to be forgiven. But I think one of the things we as humans have trouble doing is forgiving ourselves in the process too, right? We can't be thoroughly forgiven unless we can forgive ourselves, right? That's what Jesus says and taught us, and he came here on this planet Earth to teach us all the process of self-transformation. And a lot of that transformation comes through universal acceptance and love that comes from our heart center. And yesterday, on the 15th, we had the planet of love, the planet of that heart center, Venus, leaving its retrograde phase. Okay, that's one of the most massive astrological events that is happening in 2017 is the Venus retrograde. And what it does of sorts is it kind of hits a reset button on that heart center of ours, where all the giving and receiving of that energy of universal love and acceptance occurs, right? Wherever we felt scales are unbalanced in these areas in our life that Venus rules, which of course is relationships, it's love, self-love, harmony, money, these areas, the 40-day Venus retrograde cycle helps us to restructure these things, helps us to look at things efficiently and effectively and see what it is exactly that makes these scales unbalanced and what it is we need to do to make it happen. Okay, 40 days just like Lent, right? 40 days just like the Israelites wandered in the desert 40 years trying to find the promised land. So too, this year, I do believe in the 40 years leading up to Easter, we all learned where we make the sacrifices in our relationships, where we make the sacrifices in finances in our lives, to ultimately live on our path, right? Self-transformation. And so here we go today. Venus has gone direct, and we're going to still feel the effects of the Venus retrograde, helping us to look back in the past over the next few weeks, okay, as it goes direct, because this was such a massive effect. And as it does, we start to learn where we need to balance these scales, right? And this week, Saturn, the planet of lessons, also makes a connection yet again with Venus. This happens towards the end of the week, but we'll be feeling it throughout the week as well. This just happened a few weeks ago too, interestingly enough. We have 4 of these Venus-Saturn squares that happens this year, which is an abnormal amount of them, I tell you what. Yet another reason making it the year of Venus, I tell you what. But when Venus and Saturn square off together, we learn a lot of hard lessons through our relationships. We learn a lot of lessons about love. We learn a lot of things where we are restricted in these areas, okay? Especially in our finances as well, because that's what Venus does as well. So this week we're kind of moving forward, and we won't know what needs to be done. And of course Saturn, that planet that has us looking at it now, not in retrograde. This was the last time it squared a few weeks ago. Venus was retrograde. Now it's having us look to the past and say, okay, what lessons do we learn out of this, right? So that energy is going to be happening this week, but we have a lot of other things as well, right? That kind of undercurrent that's happening. Another thing that's going to be going on is that, where do we start? Where do we want to start? Yeah, let's keep talking about Saturn. Let's keep talking about that, because that kind of starts tomorrow, and that'll kind of lead into everything here. So, like I said, Saturn is that planet that sets the boundaries for us, right? It teaches us the lessons in life. It's known as a planet of karma, right? And it's going to be making a harmonious connection with the Aries sun, and this is one of the last connections that our Aries sun has for this year of 2017. Of course, this is Aries is the beginning of the astrology wheel, right? And where it begins, so too begins the new beginnings for us, right? We're looking towards starting new things, looking to new cycles, and that sun in Aries kind of shines a light on those areas for us when it goes through it every year. Now, as the sun makes this harmonious connection with Saturn this week, starting Monday on the 17th, it's a chance to really get a good solid footing to those new beginnings that this Aries sun is trying to get us to initiate, right? That's what the Aries sun does. It helps us to kind of renew every area in our life where we feel that there is stagnation. And so as the sun aligns with that Saturn, right, Saturn is a planet that stabilizes things. It makes a good solid structure to it. So it's fantastic that if you've decided, okay, this is what I need for a new beginning, to have Saturn coming through at the very last moment, making sure that it has a good, solid, positive energy for the week. Not only that, right, for these changes that you're looking to make, but it's also a good productive energy in general for everybody this week, as it kind of stabilizes the week for us. If there's things that you need to get done, if there's energy that you feel you've been lacking so you can't get projects done, this is the week when you really are able to get them happening and rocking and rolling. And it's especially true because we have the sun in Taurus that's going to be shifting and changing too as well on Wednesday the 19th. Now, when the sun moves into the sign of Taurus, this is a time when we become very, very focused, because the sun is shining a light on all things Taurus, about the stability in our lives, about the secure foundations that we have in our life, okay? Taurus is the second sign of the zodiac, and it's very focused on the earthly, tangible things that it can hold. The earthly, tangible things that we hold in our hands that are physical, that we can see, right? This is going to be things that have to do with our money, especially money. Taurus is very concerned about things that are money related. It's concerned about the body, the physical body in itself too. And it's also about our self-worth. Anything that we hold of value, our possessions and things along those lines, but also our self-worth as well. Anything that we value in this life falls under the sign of Taurus. And as the sun radiates and shines through that sign for the next 4 weeks, we all become a little bit hyper aware of those things in our life. How much money am I making? Where am I spending it? Where am I saving it? What am I doing with it? How do I love myself, and how do I take care of this one little body vehicle that God gave me in this lifetime, right? These are all things that we're kind of brought into focus as Venus went retrograde over the past 40 years. Now, Venus rules the sign of Taurus too, so it's kind of like double amplified. Now that Venus has gone direct, right, it's perfect timing as the sun starts shining a light through Taurus to really start making stable changes that we need moving forward, right? When the sun was in Aries, it was about making plans for these changes, right? We wanted to start to think of new beginnings and where we wanted things to go and how we wanted to shift and change. Well, now when the sun goes into Taurus, it's a matter of things actually having the stability to do it and to really take root, so that way we can make really successful changes. So we're going from just the desire for wanting that change to making things a little bit more secured, and then that way they succeed. Now, the positive things that happen as the sun goes through the sign of Taurus over the next 4 weeks, like I said, we're really focused on stability. We have a lot more determination to get things done, because this is a fixed sign in the zodiac, and it's all about being the hub of the wheel. So we're very determined to get things done. And the things that we do start, the things that we do initiate, the things that we actually put our physical feet forward to make happen and make the changes actually happen now, instead of just thinking about it, there's going to be a longevity that comes with that, okay? Now, the shadow side to it over the next 4 weeks, we got to look out for being a little bit too stubborn, okay? Because Taurus is that ram, not the ram, but it's the bull, okay? And the bull will dig its horns in, and it will not let go, okay? And so just be a little bit extra cautious to not be too stubborn, right, as you go through and try to blaze through and make these changes that you want to. Another thing, too, is possessiveness. Like I said before, Taurus rules all things that have value to them. And in this time frame, as it's great for us to really reconsider all these things that we do value and what they mean to us and all these things, not to hold on too tightly to some of these things as well, because that's when possessiveness sets in and all bad things can happen from that, right? So Now, the good thing is that as the sun goes through the sign of Taurus on May 9th, okay, this gives you a little bit of a heads up time. If you've been wanting to do a new healthcare regimen, okay, let's say you want to start losing weight. Let's say you really want to commit to giving up a bad habit. Let's say you really want to start exercising and keeping up with this momentum. The best time to do that is the full moon or the new moon cycle in the fixed signs of the zodiac. That's going to be Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, or Scorpio. Okay, any of those times are going to be the best astrological times to really stick with these plans, but by far out of all of them, the most stick with it of them all, because Taurus is so determined and it really produces longevity and results because it's so determined. The best time for you to start a weight loss program or anything where you want to take care of your body is while the sun is in Taurus. So you're going to be looking at that May 9th time frame, okay, to really know that if you do start committing at that point, the universe is going to be behind you to make sure it succeeds. So now another thing that we've got happening this week is that Pluto is going to be going retrograde. Pluto is our planet of transformation, right? And this is going to be happening through the end of September. It's a long retrograde cycle, and because it's so far away from us, it doesn't make a massive impact on everybody every year because it's so darn far away. It takes a long time to feel those effects. But those that most will feel the effects, of course, will be those that have Scorpio in their charts, that's sun, moon, or ascendant in your birth chart, because you're ruled by the planet of Pluto. So when your home planet goes retrograde, you kind of start looking within as well. But for all of us, there's a little bit of underlying things where this is the time to do some spring cleanup in the mind, right? Pluto was like the trash truck for the universe. And what it does is it rids us of the garbage of the past. And it kind of clears away all the things that don't really serve us anymore. So there's going to be a little bit of a deep cleaning going on as this retrograde goes through over the next several months, digging deep into that subconscious mind, kind of throwing things out that pollute our mind and our body and our spirit, negative self-programming, self-pity, horrible things that we do, that we run on autopilot that kind of don't serve our highest and best. This is the time that gets brought into focus, and a lot of looking to the past in terms of the losses that we've endured and the transformations that happen as a result. Okay, Pluto is a planet that represents death and the transformation of going from life into death and that cycle of it. So this is a time when we also look to the losses that we've encountered in our lifetime and what transformations came as a result of those as well. So another thing that we've got going on too this week is we've got, of course, that Sun in Taurus is going to be aligning with Mercury on Thursday the 20th. Now this is awesome. This is called an inferior conjunction because it happens very, very close to the Earth. So when you think of it, the Earth is like considered us, the body, the human body, right? And so the Sun, where it shines its light, and Mercury, the planet of thought, okay, are very, very close to the Earth. That's why they call it an inferior conjunction, because it's so darn close to the Earth. Now, because of that, the mindset, okay, and our focus is very close to the body, very focused on money, very focused on the body, our health, our self-worth, and all the things that we hold on to in this lifetime as our possessions. Those things are very, very important as we look at that towards the end of this week, right? But because Mercury is in retrograde right now, it has a lot to do with looking to the past. Okay, so we're looking to the past a lot, how we've taken care of our body, our finances, and all of those things. So a lot of thoughts may come to the forefront as subconscious matters start to emerge from the back in terms of these areas. So keep an eye out for that at the end of the week. Now, another thing that we've got is not only is the sun moving into a new sign, kind of bringing some extra stable energy into this week, but we have Mars, the planet of drive and determination, moving into the very, very mentally focused sign of Gemini. Now, this hasn't been there in a few years, so my Gemini friends and my Aries friends, okay, these people that have sun, moon, or ascendant in either of these signs, you're going to be feeling exceptionally mentally sharp and quick in ways you haven't for 3 years, okay? Mental process certainly speeds up, I tell you what, in this time frame. Because Gemini is a sign that's very socially focused and mentally focused. It wants to learn. So you are going to find as well that there is an increase in your mental stimulation to learn, to talk, to communicate, to socialize. You want to try new things. You have this energy and this determination to switch things up and move things up. And that's wonderful, right? Another thing that happens is Mars comes through, right? And it kind of energizes things, and it makes things a little bit impulsive as it does that. Now, when it goes through the sign of communications, you may find that your speech style, the way you communicate with others, over the next 6 weeks may be a little bit more impulsive or a little bit more aggressive than you normally would do, because you just want to get things done. This is a time when you're really focused on getting to the nitty-gritty of it. We've been doing a lot of thinking of it this year. Now Mars is going to come through and really push you to say those things that need to be said to get things done, right? Absolutely. Yep. So just keep an eye out for that as the mental process speeds up, that boredom may set in as well, okay? Because you want things to be so quick and so exciting and so blah that sometimes in the process you get bored as you have to wait, right? As the sun goes through Taurus and kind of slows everything else down for the rest of us. Mars doesn't like it when things are slowed down, and that's where it's been the past several weeks, where Mars has been is in Taurus. So I think where a lot of people feel like they've got one foot on the gas, one foot on the brake, it's because the engine Mars has been stuck in that Earth sign of Taurus, kind of slowing us down and getting us to think before we take major actions, right? Now, I think I talked about it a little bit beforehand here, but Venus is going to be squaring off with Saturn. Okay. I think we talked about that a little bit, but this is a good thing because this happens 4 times a year. And I know I didn't talk about this. It's happened 3 times already out of the 4 that it's going to happen this year. Usually it only happens twice a year, but this year, being the planet of Venus, it is just crazy, and it's happening a lot. And a lot of that comes with learning the lessons from love, from money, all those things in the heart center and hitting that reset button. Looking to the dreams and the emotional connections and relationships and how that makes an impact on us now. Okay. So a lot of it comes from us focusing on those limitations and boundaries in these relationships and how those boundaries get tested, right? How those limits get tested. A lot of that going on this week as well. So we've got a lot of energy, obviously. I mean, that's like 17 minutes of energy we've got talking about there for this upcoming week. Now let's do a reading to kind of pull it all together and see what else the angels have to tell us in this week coming ahead. So, here we go. Let's see what angels working us through the stairs. Here we go. Grandpa Stone. Oh, that's kind of cool because my grandpa was a Gemini. So this stone to me always represents grandfather energy. So somebody's grandpa is around helping them in this definitely interesting week of a lot of energy and looking to the past and moving forward from it. Grandpa's around. I'm just going to tell you that right now. As opposed to an archangel around us this week, know that grandfather energy is around, giving you guidance and support, and to listen to your heart, maybe not your mind a little bit so much this week, as when you do so, that gives you a chance for Grandpa to come in and help explain things a little bit better, I suppose, is what we'll say with that. So let's pull some cards and see what Grandpa has to say this week for us, eh? Grandpa, what you got to say for everybody out there this week, huh? Just needed some help and guidance to get that solid footing for all these plans that we've made for new beginnings as the sun is on through the sign of Aries. Now we're ready to make them happen. We're ready to start committing to them. What advice would a grandfather have for those of us down here on planet Earth that are trying to get these things figured out? I feel like I need to do it 3 times, like I could do that number 3. Hold on, Grandpa. Here we go. Oh, okay. Hey. Well, look at this. This is interesting because it is an air card. Of course, Gemini being an air sign. Like I said, my grandpa was a Gemini. So, teacher. He was a teacher and a writer. And a big one on communications, right? So are the air cards, the sign of tarot and the deck tarot. And so this one, of course, is meaning that you've reached a spot where you're very mature in your thinking. And it's time to speak your mind with confidence and to balance out those mental and emotional considerations in your life as you make decisions, right? It's all about using wise, objective thinking to make some really logical steps for moving forward. That's Grandpa's advice. Just be really smart about what you're doing and communicate your thoughts with others, right? Let's be sharp. Let's be smart. Let's go from there. Let's pull another card. Let's pull another card. Let's see what other energy we've got. So windy up here today.
I said come on, wind.
No, let's not have the wind. Come on. Little 5-year-old Jack's out here being helpful today too. Trying to get the wind to blow this computer over, I think. So let's see here. If we're trying to have a mature outlook here about kind of cutting through the malarkey and just getting right to the matter at heart, as Grandpa would do, right? Grandpas do that type of thing. What is the one advice here that they're also having us to keep in mind as we balance these mental and emotional considerations? Okay, that's enough. Let's see here. What does Grandpa have to say as we balance these considerations, eh? Grandpas, yes. One more. I mean it this time. Enlightenment. Isn't that something? And we're just coming out of this full moon cycle too from this past week, which had a lot to do focusing on the self and others in these relationships. A lot of focus on that between what is it that I want and what is it you want and how do we bring this balance between the two. And so I do also feel that Grandpa's bringing some of that information through too this week, that as we kind of go within and really start to find and strike that balance between what's going on here and what's going on here, that we get to this process of enlightenment, right? We know that there's always these angels around there trying to guide us and give us direction, especially our family from the past as well too, and know that they all are around this week as you debate things, try to figure things out, and try to get some solid footing moving into the coming week ahead. So just know that you have all the information that you need to move forward into this week. Everybody have a wonderful week. Thank you for watching.